Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show Action Edition, where we feature feedback from you, our listeners. And I'm here with my old buddy Larry. Larry, what you been doing lately?
Oh, John, actually, I'm doing a recessed lighting job at my condo. This is a personal job that I'm doing.
Very nice.
It reminded me of, we got an email several weeks back on somebody asking about laser measuring devices. And so I have to tell this story. So it's very appropriate because in this email they asked, is there a great advantage to having a laser measuring device, laser tape measure? And you and I hadn't really done anything with them, so that's part of the reason why it's taken so long. I think it's probably 2 months ago we got this email. Mm-hmm. And anyway, usually we're pretty good about answering it, but neither you nor I had the experience. Well, I am doing this ceiling mount for these recessed lightings. Now, I have a laser that put a line, I got my line down the ceiling, right? So I got it straight and I got it parallel to the wall. No problems, but I'm trying to match two sets of holes in this thing. So I'm trying to do it with the tape, right? Regular tape.
Yeah.
After an hour, I said to myself, screw this. I'm going down to Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yeah.
I went to Lowe's actually, and I'm buying a laser measurer.
Yeah, because when you were using, let me back you up there and pause you there, because when you're using the tape, and you might have a night, you've got the other laser device that's laying a nice straight line on the ceiling where you want to place these things somewhere on that line, right?
Correct. Yep. Correct. I've got.
But you don't know how far apart or how far away from the wall, or all that kind of stuff. And then when you try to use a tape by yourself on a ceiling, it always is falling. It's a mess. I mean, it's really frustrating.
It's incredibly frustrating. And you said it, and that's the key word: by yourself. So if you can hold the tape taut, right? If you've got a way to hold the tape taut, it works, right? And we say that. But John, both you and I, we work alone a lot, right? So, and in this case, I'm working alone because, I'm myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? It's time to go get one. I'm just going to get one. So I go and get one.
There must be a tool for this situation.
There is a tool for this situation, folks. It is called the laser tape measure. I think I spent about $50 on. I bought a pretty decent one because I'm like, if I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to buy a pretty decent one. I think mine will shoot 100 feet. Anyway, I spend the $50 on it. Not 12 minutes later, I'm done. I mean, I screwed around for more than an hour trying to get the, and I'm done, John, within a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah, after you told me that story, I did. I went down and bought one too. I've been itching to buy one because I've needed it, and folks, you'll probably see, if you ever have like carpet done in your house or hardwood floors, when they come in to measure, they're going to use one of these devices where they're just going to hold it against a wall and then shoot it at the opposite wall, and it immediately tells them within a 1/16 of an inch or less accuracy of how big that distance is, and in that way they can look at the room and do all the measurements. So that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and this is especially too, and we were just talking about it, if you're doing overhead work or you're doing anything that's up kind of out of where you might need to actually, because the sag in the tape can add a significant amount of distance, and it'll really screw things up.
Good point. That is that's a really good point. And I will tell you that if you're of mind to do your own crown molding and things like that, that's also difficult to measure from corner to corner sometimes.
Alone.
Alone.
You can do it with two guys. You can do it with two.
You can do it too, but with this thing you can really get accuracy down. In all that, but you're right. Over these overhead situations, as well as trying to compensate and fight with tape sag and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just crazy. So there's several different versions available. I happened to buy a Bosch, but that was what they had. I looked online after the fact, and there's a bunch of knockoffs you can get. There's all kinds of things. But I definitely think if you I would say this, John. If you don't own a tape measure, I wouldn't. I would buy this before I'd buy a tape measure.
There's cases for both. There's cases for both of them, and they do have some tape measures that have both.
Right.
And But these are, we've done some shows and things, and we've talked about tools and investing in tools, and this is one that is, for us, I use a lot.
I'm using it a lot now. I'm using it a lot more than I thought I would.
And it just saves a lot of time and aggravation. So
yeah, and the accuracy is unbelievable. I tested it. Yeah, I tested it beforehand. I actually put my tape on the floor and I measured out and I stuck the thing down, and it was, I'm hoping my tape measure was right, but it was spot on. I was like, oh, dude, this is so cool. This is like just the best. So. Yeah. All right, John, anything else on the laser tape measures?
Very good.
All right.
Fantastic little item.
All right. Don't forget to join our Facebook at Handyman Pros. Join the conversation. Send us an email, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com, and or go to our homepage at handymanprosradioshow.com and leave us a voice message, and we will get you on the air. Thanks so much for listening. We will talk to you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed this podcast and have derived some value from it, here's 4 things you can do. 1, tell your friends about this podcast. 2, hit subscribe on your podcast player. While you're there, leave us a review. 3, subscribe to our newsletter by going to handymanprosradioshow.com and click on the subscribe button. We'll inform you of upcoming events, shows, and give you actionable tips for maintaining your home and property. And 4, send us an email with your questions to questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. That's handymanprosradioshow.com. That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.